This show is part of the Head Stuff Podcast Network.
It's Tony Horror shit show. And I know that the show is Tony Horror shit show. And I know, yeah.
You alright? Shit, look, I gotta tell you something, girl, lad, bruh, I'm in love with you. Shit, you gonna make a ball blush, you gonna make me go all rouge. Shit, you gonna make me go all Jared, girl, or fella. Shit, cause I'm in love with you. Oh man, you gonna make me go all, you gonna make me go as Jared as I was when I called that goddamn moon tour ma'am in class. Shit, you gonna make me so Jared, girl or fella, that it'd be like when I was so mortal, man. When I was going all now I'm fucking Matthew McConaughey for some reason, but I was trying to do probably a less problematic voice than I was doing. But shit, girl, you gonna make me go so Jared? You gonna make me go as Jared as the time I won a drawing competition in junior infants and they said my name. Shit, I'll be Scarlet for my man. Shit, girl. No, how you doing? You good? Listen, I'm in love with you, okay? I am in love with you. I wouldn't say I'm polyam. I wouldn't quite say I'm polyam, but I do love you dearly. I love, I'm more of a, not so much polyam as I am, was there Pokemon? God, am I about to fucking say something? There wasn't a Pokemon called Poliwag, was there? There wasn't. Was there? Fucking hell. Because remember, Jinx was racist. Jinx is racist, okay? Jinx is racist, but also the hottest Pokemon because of the lovely hair. Now, of course, I think I've talked about this before. If you were to shag any Pokemon, it'd be Ditto. Because you'd be like, hey, Ditto, turn into a gorgeous tit, whatever. This podcast is getting so horny these days. Anyway, I'm going to move on. But just know I'm in love with you. I'm not moving on, just know I'm in love with you. You're the one person I can't tell. God, I used to fall in love so fucking hard when I was a kid. I think what happened was I was just like such a horny young fella that it kind of calcified into like something fucking like sacred or doctrine as love. Do you know what I mean? Something as fucking, and I was thinking just really, horny. I've said it before. I said it literally last week, horny. I think horny is, I'm talking about this objectively now. I'm not going to be any more descriptive about this. So I'm sorry, you're listening to this in the morning. You're like, look, bro, we're not on the same page here at all. All right. I've been up since 7 listening to slow jams. All right. And I knew, actually, I was even listening. I'm like, is this going to affect the podcast? Is this actually going to affect the podcast? Should I listen to something else in between? I'm like, no, I can leave that shit at home. I don't have to bring it into the podcast, but I do. I've been listening to the Isley Brothers. I've been listening to Marvin Gaye, Anyway. But I think I've said it, that horny black dudes have made the greatest form of art there is in kind of R&B and slow jams. Like all of the songs that just come from, I gotta get this out of my fucking system, and it can't be a wank. It has to be a song, are some of the greatest pieces of art ever, And I think young fellas, if they could just harness that energy, maybe they wouldn't be so militant and incelled, I know you can't go into a school and petition a, horny slow jam R&B writing session tutorial with, a boys' school. I know you can't do that. I know you can't. I'm not going to. But if you could, would we see less mass shootings? Is the real... I'm just saying, who's to say? Who's to say? But anyway, look, how are you doing? I'm talking today I'm talking today about alphas. As a beta simp, as a Barta simp son. No, I'm fascinated by alpha dudes. My algorithm right now is kind of exclusively alpha dude tutorials. Just ambiguously Egyptian alpha dudes telling me this is not how you sit in a chair, this is how you sit in a chair. You don't lean over, you don't hunch over, you pull the chair out. I know I'm being a bit French now, but whatever, let's go with it. Less problematic, as you can assume, more ample. You pull the chair out with one hand, you keep your back straight. When you're sitting on the floor, you don't have your legs flat on the floor. You have one knee up and you pull your forearm on your knee to be alpha, dude. So I'm fascinated by this, and I haven't quite figured out why. I'm trying to work out these thoughts at the moment about, like, because I see a lot of alpha dudes and alpha dad reels and TikToks, you know, saying about what it is to be an alpha. And a lot of it seems to be like, you know, I'm in service to my family. I'll do anything for my family. You know, my family comes first. If anyone were to break into my home, I know I'm the only one that could save my family. I would do fucking anything. You know, that when they always say this, you know, I would do anything. I know that if I was there and this alpha dad was there and our families are being held ransom and the terrorist said, okay, the only way you can save your family is to sing Part of Your World from Little Mermaid. You know, I think I would be, look at this stuff, isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? You know, I got gadgets and gizmos aplenty. I got who's its and what's its galore. You want thingamabobs? And, you know, I would do it first, of course, because to be honest, I'd probably do it even if he hadn't asked. And I'm pretty sure the alpha dad probably let his family die. Do you know? Like, you know, would you do anything or would you just kill everyone? They're two separate things. You know, would you sit with your legs crossed and your hands holding your feet on a couch? Probably not. You know what I mean? And like, I feel like the alpha thing is so restrictive. It's kind of like bowling on a bowling lane that is just the width of the ball. Meanwhile, my bowling lane has bumpers on it. Do you know what I mean? Woo! Big silly camp bumpers. Woo! Boing, boing, boing. I feel like I have a lot more opportunity as a non-alpha, you know? And so I feel bad for alpha dudes that they don't really get to appreciate, you know, singing Celine Dion, you know? They don't really ever get to have Part of Your World in their heart, you know, like I do. And so I'm fascinated by what the thinking is behind alpha dudes. And I understand that it probably comes from a deep insecurity with men where it's kind of like, especially people pursuing that, it's kind of like, I feel like a nobody, so I need to be the best one rather than just kind of small marginal improvements, you know, in your personal happiness or looking for other, you know, other ways of self-soothing your insecurities, you know? Like, I don't know, maybe just a nice partner who positively reinforces you and is there for you if you cry, you know? Maybe that would be one step or something, you know? Maybe one would be like writing shit down. Whatever it is. Anyway, so I found this book. It's called The Alpha Male Bible. All right. And actually, I'm gonna read you. Hang on, let me get it here. I've accumulated 25 tips. Okay, the book is that Alpha Male Bible, and I've tried to shove them into a scenario. John Wayne use all 25. And I've highlighted this essentially the intro to this man. So a bit of tell you a bit about this book and a bit about the author. Staring off into space. I remember that when people, I couldn't wrap my head around, you know, people getting photos and they're like staring off, and like they took the photo. I remember, like, I felt like I was an alien, an irate alien in the early days of social media, MySpace, being like, where are you looking? You know where the like, it broke my brain that people wouldn't stare directly down the lens of the camera, unless, of course, they're in a movie, which would break the, would break the fourth wall, the illusion. And he's doing that anyway. He's got a newspaper under his arm and a nice suit. It says, Sean Wayne is a self-made man. Man is capitalized. a graduate of international relations and diplomatic science. He knows exactly what he's talking about, it says, because of his intense studies and skills in relationships of all kinds. Let me tell you about Sean Wayne. You guys coming for fucking Sean? Let me tell you about this guy. He's a self-made man. He knows exactly what he's talking about because of his intense studies and skills in relationships of all kinds. So anyway, I had a little peruse and tried to highlight every kind of practical use case tip. What I will say, compliments to Sean, very short chapters. I would say a page is a chapter. A guy like me, a Dan Brown fanatic, I love that shit. I was flying through this book. And basically I've taken all of these tips, and a lot of them range from things like body language, topics of conversation, flirting, asserting yourself, how you talk, how you carry yourself. And I've put them into basically in a row of how they can be applied best on a night out. Okay, so picture the situation, all right? You're heading out, all right? Maybe you're on the pull, all right? You're an alpha dude or dudette, and you're on Camden Street. Sorry, that's just Dublin Street, going into a bar. Maybe you're going into Devitt's or something, all right? And follow all of these tips in order, okay? So the first one, it says, it's all about body language. Use the wall reset. Basically, it says, find a flat surface, press your heels, calves, buttocks, shoulder blades, and the back of your head against it, and lean there for at least 2 minutes. The goal is to reset your muscle memory to a natural, high-status posture. So say in this situation, I don't know what's beside Devitt's, say a vape shop, all right? Before you go into Devitt's, press hard against the glass of the vape shop and do not move for 2 minutes. People might try and look in the vape shop. They might want to be like, oh, I'm looking for pineapple ice. I can't quite see in between this man's legs, And they're like, sorry, could you move? Do not move. Stand there, hard pressed against the glass. Even if the vape shop owner comes out and was like, my friend, please leave. What are you doing? You're like, do not move. Don't move, all right? You're like the fucking Terminator, right? Then it says, use doorways as a trigger. Basically, you want to, it says visibly, so when you walk into a door, all right, so say you're up here at Devitt's, right? You've left the glass of the vape shop, you've walked over to Devitt's, you've swung open the door, and it says you want to visibly inflate your chest. Use the doorway as a reminder to inflate your chest, ensuring that you look like a man or woman of consequence entering their domain, all right? So you walked from the vape shop as rigid as you can to the doorway of Devitt's. You kick it open, and you just puff out your chest and stand there. You shall not be moved. And it says as well, use a V-shaped posture, all right? Stand with your feet slightly wider than your shoulders, it says, and toes pointing slightly outward. Sounds like I'm just picturing fucking little Robin Hood, little boots, little elf boots. But use it. Maybe arrows pointing to the two hottest birds. You're in there, toes pointed out. I mean, really looking like you're about to get kicked in the nuts. There's a V-shaped posture. That's not a V, though, is it? That's more of an N, more of a mountain. But you know what? Do you know what the next thing says? Dominance is shown by the amount of territory you claim. Occupy space. Expand your body. And it signals you're not threatened by your environment. So I'd say go full fucking V. Throw the arms up as well. Be there. You've walked like the Terminator from the vape shop to the pub. You kicked open the door. Spread your legs wide and arms out. More like an X. Or like a Vitruvian man. You are here in Devitt's. You are Da Vinci's finest creation, of course, the Vitruvian man. And you shall not be moved. It also says weight distribution. All right? An alpha never shifts his fucking weight from foot to foot. What are you, a fucking gabda? What are you, a simp, son? What are you, a simp, son? You should keep your weight distributed equally. Don't shift or fidget with your feet. That says it's described as a leak of nervous energy. So here you fucking go. Don't fucking move. Door's wide open. Guess what? You are the door. You've pushed open the fucking door. You're there planted, standing there, arms out like an X, like a Vitruvian man, letting all the heat out of a cold January evening. People are like, what are you doing? Close the door. You're like, I am the fucking door. I am the door. I am the one they knock on because I am a door. All right? Then it says, use a softened gaze. All right? So it says, instead of predatory tunneling, staring intensely at one target. Practice a soft focus. That involves using your peripheral vision to take in the entire environment. So, okay, you're there, you're the Vitruvian man, you are also a door. Space out with your eyes. Be looking at no one. And everyone just be like, duh, duh. They're like, what are you doing? Don't even look at them. Look at the whole room, stare it in. I'm the door. I'm a fucking door. I'm a door. What are you going to fucking do about it? All right? People screaming at you for letting the heat out. Then it says, okay, occupy the power seat. It says, when sitting, always choose the seat with the widest view of the room. And crucially, the one that faces the entrance. It says this is an ancestral trait for situational awareness. All right? So say you're at the bar, secure like the stool, like at the end of the bar, looking at the door. All right? And so you've walked, so presumably you've walked, maybe you put your arms down. All right? You sit at the stool at the end of the bar, making sure you can see the door, the exit, as an alpha would, you know? And if anyone's like, why are you sitting there? You'd be like, I'm just looking at my mate. I'm looking at my brother, the door, because I'm a door as well. Need to make sure if there's any predators coming in here. You say this with a softened gaze, of course, staring down into space. I am a door, I'm a door, I'm a door. I'm looking at my brother, you know. What the fuck am I talking about? I know. All right, okay. I got loads more to go through, okay? Okay. It says rapid movement signals nervousness, okay? High-status people move with deliberation. So you're there at the bar. You're looking at your brother, a door. And when the bartender says, what do you want, right? You turn your head slower. Like, if they said that was too slow, then you're going too fast, all right? As slow as you can. Bartender's like, what do you want? Slowly turning your head to him. And then, you know, you're like... And, of course, still do not, you know, no tunnel vision, still with a soft gaze, be like, oh, Guinness, please. You know, whatever you're having, you know, martini. And stare out as if you might even be on a call, maybe. Maybe you're on a hands-free call, like, martini, please. All right? As deliberately, and then slowly return your eyes, of course, to your family, your wood family of the doors. All right? It also says slow blinking. Blinking rapidly is a biological indicator of high cortisol. Oh, you fast fucking blinkers, you losers. You need to slow your blink rate to signal a predatory calm and emotionally stable. So blink. So actually, maybe you ask what you want, right? And you're staring out into space. Blink slowly once. You know, a Guinness, please. One slow, deliberate blink. All right. You know, do you ever get to that kind of stage where, do you ever pretend to be asleep, and you're still trying to see out your eyes, and then some people can kind of see the glint in your eye. You try and get it, so you should be spending most of the time. You should be so slow at blinking that you're spending maybe even 15 full seconds where your eyes kind of half closed, and then slowly open them again, right? So say if he's like, Guinness taps run dry, slowest fucking blink, or whatever lager you got. Oh, hang on, sorry. How you say it's important, right? It says lower your vocal inflection. All right, that's an alpha move. It says, the book says, ensure your sentences end on a lower note than on a higher one. Jeez, the fucking Nordies are be fucked. How are you all getting on? How are you all getting on? Can't be doing that. That's the thing. They're all a bunch of beta sims. Everyone up the north is a beta simp, apparently. Look, not my fucking words. The word of Sean Wayne of the Alpha Bible fame. All right? I'm so sorry to everyone there in Northern Ireland. You cannot be ending up on a high note. You can't be ending up on like that. You've got to be down. You say, Guinness, please, while you're slowly blinking. And you know what? Maybe even to contrast how low, because you want it to sound really low, maybe start high. Can I have a Guinness, please? As you're blinking slowly. Can I have a Guinness, please? Oh. All right. Now, you hopefully have your drink. You're at the bar. Now the courting ritual. All right. It says, the book says, do use an eyebrow flash, right? So this is like a micro expression, it says, used during the initial approach. A quick 1/6 of a second lift of an eyebrow signals, I am friendly and not a threat. Blim, blim. Blink and you miss it. Blim. That was my eyebrow. And it helps bypass the other person's natural social defenses. A quick eyebrow flash. Okay, so you catch the eye, maybe as someone you're interested in, maybe one of the people that your Vitruvian toes were pointing at earlier, and maybe in the snug, right? You give them a split-second eyebrow twitch, blip, to signal you've acknowledged their existence, being, I fucking know you're here, blip, blip, you know? Like, if you want, maybe watch The Rock, a Rock promo from WWE, and, speed it up by like 7. And then that's what you should be doing, right? And then, this is good. Okay, so now what are you actually talking about? You're going to approach this person that you've blasted with a fucking bullet of an eyebrow, okay? And it says, use a false time constraint, all right? So when approaching, give a reason why you may have to leave soon. So example they gave is, I only have a minute before I, blank. This removes social pressure from the other person, making it more likely they'll engage because this interaction won't be, indefinite. Okay. So, again, it says you need to occupy space. So maybe go over with the snug, take off your big jacket, lay it across 2 different chairs, all right? Spread out. Spread your legs. Maybe keep the arms wide, almost like you're trying to scare a bear, all right? You're making this big play. You've just sat down. But you're barely here for a second, right? So, we just say, I'm only here for a minute. I'm only here, you say, blip, one more eyebrow. And you go, listen, I'm only here for 1 pint because I have to go collect a trophy that I won at the biggest hog championships. I won. I'm after winning. Jeez, you won't fucking believe it. I'm after winning the biggest hog championships, eating into my drinking time, big time, and I have to go in 1 pint to get that. All my best friends are going to be there. Okay, the opinion opener, it says. All right, so start conversations by asking a low-stake opinion. The example it gives is, who lies more, men or women? The book says it's a disarming way to start a dialogue without appearing to want something. So you're there. Anyway, I'm going to neck this now before I collect the biggest hog trophy. Tell me, who lies more, men or women? All right. I'm only here for 1 pint. All my best friends are going to be there. Who lies more, me or you? Tell you what, it could be both of us. Play our cards right. Could be both lying on a bed. Don't say that. That's too much, according to this book. That absolute zinger, don't use it. All right? You don't get to use it. So, okay. You've walked in like the Terminator, then you became a door, then you sat at the bar, you've slothed out the fuck of the bartender, got your Guinness, and then you've draped all your shit over the table of these ladies at the snug, and you've called them all liars. Or yourself one. And then it says, instead, statement-based, okay, openers. So instead of interrogating with questions, respond to whatever they say using cold read statements. The example they give is, this place feels like it's holding a secret tonight. Whew. This forces the other person to verify or correct you. So it'd be like, feel like this place holding a secret tonight. Wrong. So when they respond, who lies more, men or women? They'd be like, I don't know, man. Men. Then you say, yeah, well, I tell you, this place feels like it's full of lying women. Next one, it says, the nodding cap. And by cap, it means maximum, never nod more than 3 times, it says. Excessive nodding makes you look like a goddamn bobblehead. What am I here with Robbie Fowler? What am I here with Liverpool striker Robbie Fowler bobbing away on my dashboard? Stop fucking agreeing with me, you clown. 3 slow nods. 3 slow nods signals you understand and have evaluated the information. Okay. So you give exactly 3 slow nods to her response about the place being full of lying women. She'd be like, what are you talking about? Nod. What do you mean? There's like more men in here than there is women? Not. What are you doing here? A third deliberate and slow nod. It says if you must break eye contact, always do so by looking to the side, horizontally. Looking down is submissive. It suggests you're intimidated by the other person. So, okay. So, maybe don't look down at all. Or if you do, maybe just look. Say if you're sipping a beer, you know, you don't want to look down at your beer. You bring it up to your lips and look to the side, like a sketchy fox. Only look from side to side. So if she's like, "What are you talking about, lying women? Sip your beer." I mean, you might stumble because you haven't been able to look down to find it. You might even knock over the glass, to be honest, you know, or grab someone else's drink. Who gives a fuck? You're the Vitruvian door, all right? Pick up a drink, and then when you're sipping it, she'll be like, "Sorry, that's actually my fucking espresso martini." Then look from side to side like a mischievous fox. Fucking loving this. Okay, I have it. And then it says, if you need to get to know them, all right, have an assumption hook. Rather than asking, "What do you do?" make an assumption. So it says, you look like the kind of person who spends their weekends doing something adventurous like hiking or traveling. That's what they recommend. If you're right, it says you look intuitive. And if wrong, she'll correct you with the actual answer. There's a lot about it's getting it wrong. And being like, "Correct me, I'm a baby. I'm a Vitruvian baby door. I'm a little door flap. I'm a little cat flap of a Vitruvian, actually, if anything." But do you know what? If this might be a good opportunity to go take a big risk. And rather than be like, you look like someone who does hiking or whatever, talk about something that you're actually really interested in. And because then again, if you're right, unreal. Now both of us are really into that. And if you're wrong, then whatever, she'll correct you. So something that you're into. So if it was me, I'd be like, "Hey, can I just say, you look like the sort of woman who loves to eat fucking big Chinese in your car, big loaded Chinese, and watch Instagram reels of, you know, people on the spectrum trying to launch a pop career, you know, and it's not in a bad way. You know, you're rooting for them. It's just interesting the way they go about it. And if you're wrong, you're wrong. If you're right, I got some fucking reels we can share. Do you know what I mean? Now it says, not in a bad way. Again, she's not doing it in a bad way. We're all rooting. You know, it's just very interesting how they go. Anyway, the anti-interview script, it says. If asked a standard question like, "What do you do?" don't use your job title. Use a script that focuses on why. So it says, "I help businesses solve problem X because I've always been obsessed with topic Y." This shifts the conversation from facts to personal passion. I actually do like this one. Okay, so in my case, this would be, she asks what I do. I'd be like, "Listen, I help people smile and laugh because I've always been obsessed with the X-Men." You know, rather than just saying I'm a comedian. Next it says, the Ben Franklin effect. Okay, the book says, ask for a tiny, effortless favor, like hold my drink for a second. Psychologically, people tend to like those for whom they have done favors as their brain rationalizes, I must like this person if I'm helping them. So you could be like, "Yeah, here, sorry, can you hold my drink for a second?" You know, and be assumptive again that it's your drink. Could be hers. You're not looking down. Pick up a random drink, give it to her. "Can you hold this for a second?" Next it says, if the person becomes rude or distracted, physically turn your torso 45 degrees away. This is a withdrawal of attention. The book says, when you take your attention away, it becomes a valuable resource they have to work back. So, you pick up a random drink, you hand it to her, say, "Here, hold this fucking drink for a minute." And then she's like, "This is my drink." And then turn away and sulk. And she's like, "Hello." Don't respond. You pick up their drink. Say, "Can you hold my drink for a second? That's actually my drink." Oof. And then sulk 45 degrees. It says, all right, 2 more tips here. It says the pause for authority. Before answering a question, wait 2 full seconds while maintaining eye contact. Well, I thought you said a soft gaze. Okay, while waiting 2 seconds of staring out into space. This silence creates a vacuum of power that you control, signaling that you are not reactive to their questions. So if she's like, "This is actually my drink. What are you doing?" Just stare out into space for 2 whole seconds before you answer. So you could be like, that's actually my drink. Bleh. 1, 2. That looks like the sort of drink that is mine. And then she can correct you. Oh my God, what does this make any fucking sense? I don't know what I'm doing. No, I do. Anyway, okay, there's only one more. Okay. The pivot exit. Always be the first to leave the conversation. Use a pivot by cutting yourself off mid-sentence. Actually, I have to go. It was great meeting you. It gives an example. This leaves them wanting more. Okay. So you're about to say, that looks like the sort of drink. Okay, hang on. We'll do a quick play-by-play. All right. You're on the pull. You're going into Devitt's. You're standing pressed up against the vape shop. All right. You've already made a scene. People will be like, my friend, what are you doing? Please get off my shop. You break the glass. And then you walk in, become the door, Vitruvian man, arms fully outstretched. You're not even a V. You're a fucking X. And then you walk up to the bar. You sit there staring at the door, saying, I'm looking at my family. They're also doors. He turns. You move like a fucking sloth, like in Zootropolis, and say, Guinness, please. Can I have a Guinness, please? And then if he says Guinness is gone, look unfazed, blink once. You do an eyebrow flash, blam. Walk over there, drape all your shit all over their table, maybe knocking over the drinks. You sit down. You say, I'm only here for 1 pint, collect me trophy for the biggest fucking hog competition. All my best friends are going to be there. I'm only drinking this now real quick. And then say, who lies more, men or women? This place looks like it's full of lying women. Then nod slowly 3 times. Pick up her drink or whatever drink's on the table because you are not looking down. That's what something a beta Bart Simpson would do. Have a sip of their drink and then nod 3 times at whatever their response is. Then say, you look like a sort of person who eats Chinese in their car, watching videos of people on the spectrum trying to break into the pop career, not in a bad way. We're all rooting for them. Then say, can you hold this? And she's like, that's my drink. Turn away and sulk. And then cut yourself off mid-sentence. Say, well, actually, that looks like the sort of drink that's actually my... Sorry, I have to go. I have to go to the Hog Championships. It was really nice meeting you all. And then walk out the same way you came in as a fucking X. People are trying to get out. Stand at the X. Reset, 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 reset. I am an X. Sorry, can I just get past you there? Say nothing. And then gone as fast as you arrived. Putty in your hands. Listen, that was 20-something alpha tips on how to be an alpha by Sean Wayne. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Thank you very much for listening. And look, I am going to be on tour. Check out the show notes because I am coming to your city. My next gig is Greystones. That is sold out. That's on Valentine's Day. And the one after that is going to be in Top Secret Comedy in London. I'm coming to a city near yours. Please check it out in the description. And I love you so much. Also, big announcement. I am playing a secret gig. For listeners of this podcast, it is on the 31st of January in the Workman's. There's actually going to be 2 gigs, a 7:30 and a 9:30, where I am binning all of my best jokes. If you want to see my very best jokes for 1 hour, a 1-hour show, I'm going to be recording it, putting it out as a special, and I would love to see you there. There is a link here in the description, in the show notes. If you're coming to any of the other gigs, don't worry about it. You will not hear the same jokes. This is a swan song for my best material. Anyway, thanks very much. I love you dearly. All the best. Bye-bye.